Hi there, Facebook. I'm just about to go live with my usual Thursday morning live video on Instagram, and I thought I would experiment this week and try to go live on Facebook and Instagram at the same time. So I'm just gonna start the Instagram live and we'll see if this works. It's a bit of an experiment. Okay. Hi there, good morning, welcome if you're watching live, and hi if you're watching the replay. I'm Maddie of Maddie Harvey Designs. I'm a knitwear designer and knitting teacher. I'm based in Edinburgh, where it's actually quite warm today and sunny, a bit unexpectedly. Welcome to my Wednesday morning Knits and Cake for Breakfast video series. Where I share with you what I've been working on this week and what I've been baking. Before COVID, I was hosting a weekly knit night in person, and I would always do some baking. So I've been trying to keep that up. So instead of taking it to my knit night, because we're online now, I'll share it with you instead. So this week I have made, now you won't be surprised to know that I have adapted a recipe that I have that I've done before. If you've watched a few times before, you'll know that I don't usually stick to the recipe. So I have made some muffins from this book, Leon Happy Guts, which is all about your microbiome in your gut and how to kind of like make it healthy. So these muffins are fruit and flaxseed muffins. I think flaxseed is supposed to be good for you. And actually in this recipe they replace the eggs, which is quite interesting. I eat eggs, so that's fine, but it's quite good to know that you can do that. If you don't have any eggs but you want to do baking, you can actually replace them with some flax seeds, and that kind of acts as something to stick everything together. So this recipe is supposed to be made with like blueberries and raspberries and blackberries and fruits like that, with ground almonds as well. But I decided that I would make a kind of date and walnut version. So I used some chopped dates in place of the frozen fruits, and then what you're supposed to do, which is actually another good tip, is you're supposed to use the ground almonds to coat the fruit so that it's supposed to help it not sink down to the bottom. It's supposed to help it kind of stay suspended in the mixture. You know how sometimes when you add fruit to a cake mixture it can all sink, apparently. Adding the ground almonds helps keep them kind of suspended. So I ground up some walnuts in my food processor and used them instead. So it worked quite well, but they don't taste very walnutty. So I think if I do them again, I think I will add some actual like chopped walnuts to it. And they're quite brown. And when I opened the oven, I'll show you the inside, I thought I'd kind of burnt them, but actually I think it's because I used brown coconut sugar. So I think that's why they're brown rather than they're burnt. I think if I'd left them in a little bit longer they would definitely have been burnt. So they taste good, and they've got a bit less sugar and things in them than usual kind of date and walnut cake, so I think I would make them again. And I seem to keep baking things that my kids don't like, which is good. So that means there's 12 muffins for me and Mr. Harvey. So that's always a bonus for me, actually. And I think they'll probably freeze quite well, because when I've made the fruit muffins before, I've put them in the freezer and just taken one out when I wanted it, and that's worked really well. So that was a successful recipe substitution, unlike last week's cookies. So I thought I would show you what I have, well, kind of finished. If you were watching last week, you would have seen my work in progress was this jumper knitted in yarn from the Wool Kitchen. So I finished the back, so that's the back, and it's been blocked. And then I was working on the front, which is just the same as the back. So it's finished, but you can see how it's not really lying very flat. And then you can also see the difference in the length between the blocked back and the unblocked front. So I need to block that out the same as the back, and then I'm going to seam the sides up to the underarms, and then I'll pick up stitches for the sleeves. Oh, thanks Hannah, she's saying that she loves the texture pattern. Yeah, it's I'm really pleased with how it's come out, and I think in Helen's yarn it's just really makes the most of a kind of variegated speckledy yarn. So I'm quite pleased with how that's come out. So I'll have to see if I can get on with doing that at some point. But the thing I've been doing mostly this week is knitting and ripping out a hat. So I've been making a new version of my Saint Germain hat, which was in Knit Now magazine quite a while ago. This is the original version that was knitted in Rowan felted tweed, and it was knitted flat. So I've been wanting to kind of rewrite it for ages and make it for knitting in the round. And I also wanted to use mohair lace weight for the little stars and for the contrast colour. So I've got a prototype here which I haven't actually finished because the decreases didn't quite work out, but this is knitted in yarn from Woolen Flower, Jules dyes with natural yarns, natural dyes. So this is actually one I had a skein of Jules's lace weight in this lovely brown sort of chestnutty colour, so I just held it double, and then I've got the mohair is this gorgeous peachy shade which I used for a shawl a while ago, and I had a bit left over because the hat doesn't take very much. So that was a sort of prototype, but I need to rip it back because the crown didn't quite work. So I decided that actually it would be better to knit a sample in the 4-ply yarn. So I bought from Jules, I bought some of her Asco Fine 4-ply, which is lovely kind of woolly, sheepy yarn, and this is a gorgeous mustardy colour, and some mohair. There's a very pale kind of celery sort of colour, those two. So here's where I've got to, but I have to say I've ripped this out quite a few times because I wanted to alternate the pattern, so the little stars are now alternating, which they weren't before, and I also wanted to just try and simplify the pattern a bit. But I'll show you, I've ripped this back so many times. I've got these little bundles of mohair that I've ripped it out, because what I've done is I've broken it off in between the stripes there. You could carry it up, but I feel for a hat, like if you've got any grips or anything in your hair, or even like earrings or something, any strands could catch. So I just decided it was a bit too much of a jump there to carry, so I broke it. But so that meant that when I've ripped it back, I've got these little kind of bobbins of mohair, and I have to remember that one is from the decreases, because that one is not long enough to do a full round. So I think I've got it sussed now, and I've got the decreases charted out, and it's got this really nice textured brim, which is nice, and it's got one of these stitches where you knit the stitch below and then you pull through a loop and knit two together, and it makes a really nice kind of quite a thick fabric, which will be nice and cozy, you know, around your ears. And then we've got the little, this is called daisy stitch. It looks like little stars, and then the eyelets. So all credit to Jules's yarn. It stands up to ripping back several times. And actually I've been surprised how easy it was to rip back, because I always feel mohair is quite sticky, but you just kind of have to take your time, and if it gets stuck at any point, don't be tempted to kind of rip. Just sometimes the strands get kind of almost like matted together, and you have to unpick them very carefully so that you don't break the strand. So I'm hoping I'll get that finished very soon. This is going to be part of my mohair collection that is coming soon, that I talked about last week, that was supposed to come out at the beginning of the year, but we had a lockdown and homeschooling and all those lovely things, so it didn't quite happen then. But I'm on the right tracks now for making it happen this autumn. So if you're interested in that, you can sign up to my mailing list, because the mailing list people will get a special discount and special bonuses for the collection. So you can do that at maddieharveydesigns.com. So I'll be back tomorrow with a Thursday tutorial, and which is going to be about picking up stitches along a garter stitch edge, which is something people find a bit more tricky than picking up along a stockinette edge or a stocking stitch edge. And that's actually part of one of my workshops that's coming up on the 26th of September. I've got my Picking Up Stitches masterclass running in the afternoon, where we'll find out about picking up stitches along all kinds of edges, about counting stitches, keeping track, and also we'll be doing a neat little trick for dealing with underarm holes when you're knitting jumpers, and picking up stitches in the underarm area. And the other workshop I'm running on that Sunday is a new one, which is tackling tassels and lattice fringing, which is going to be good fun. So it's all about little things to decorate your knits with. Again, you can find out about those via the website maddieharveydesigns.com. So I'll let you get on with the rest of your Wednesday. Thank you for joining me, and I will see you next week. Bye!